I'm Kelly from Kelly Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these crazy looking earrings. They've ended up a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be, but I absolutely love them. I'll put a list of everything you're going to need in the description below. So let's get started. Quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you all so much for everything you do, and I will put all your names on the screen. I really appreciate you all so much. To make these earrings you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've got 8 lengths at 12 inches, which is 30 centimetres. I've got 0.315mm weaving wire, that's 28 gauge. I've wound 250 centimetres onto my bobbin. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, it just makes it easier with working with a longer lengths. You wind your wire on there and then that sits down by your side as you're working. But like I say, if you don't have one, don't worry. Got 2 little teardrop cabochons today. Mine are 25mm by 22. So anything that kind of size will work lovely with this design. Tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy for straightening wires and compressing weaves, flattening weaves. All my tools are Tronex, and I'll put a list of all of these in the description below. I think that's everything, so let's get to it. So cut your wires to the lengths that I have, and we'll take 4 of those 8 wires. Position your thumb centrally along those wires, and we'll start weaving just to the left of your thumb there. So we'll start with a few wraps around that bottom wire. So we'll go around the bottom 2. Then we'll go around the bottom 3 wires, coming up between the bottom 2. Go over the top, so we're going around the top 3. Under the bottom, and we go around the bottom 3. Go around the bottom 2 wires. And go around the bottom wire 3 times. And that's our repeat. So I've done 5 repeats of that weave. Keep pushing it together as you go. And we need to cut that wire off at both ends. Press those little cut ends down. Then we're going to grip the weave to the right of the centre and we're going to bend it into a V. And your stone is going to sit above the V. So you need a nice deep angle in that bend. So then holding the stone there against the wires, trying to keep it nice and straight, we're going to bring the wires around the stone. Trying to keep the stone straight. So you've got this nice shape, you've got like a diamond shape, and you've got quite a space below the stone there. But you do need to make sure the stone is nice and straight. Where the wires meet at the top, just going to give that a little wiggle like that so I can see where to bend the wires out. Make sure the wires aren't crossing over each other. So keep adjusting it until you're happy with the shape. And we'll join the wires at the top there. So we'll join the top together where the wires meet there, but I want to add just a little weave on this side, just to give it a bit more strength and to stop the wires from crossing over. So if we wrap a few times around this back wire, slide it down to about there. We'll do a couple of repeats of the same weave as we did for the bottom. Please mention me when sharing your finished work online. Please don't show in progress or images of the back, as it gives my design away. And thank you in advance to everybody for doing that. Really appreciate you all so much. So I've done 2 repeats of that weave. I only did 1 little wrap in between the 2 so that it didn't take up that much room, because we haven't really got much space up the top here. So I'm going to cut the weaving wire from both ends, and we'll do that same weave on the other side, but then we'll only cut the beginning weaving wire, and we'll keep that one long so we can tie it up at the middle. And when we do the other side, we're going to work it upside down so your 3 wraps stay around the same wire. So as you've turned it over, now your 3 wraps are going to be on the top. So let me just part those wires a bit. So we'll start with 3 wraps around the top wire. Pull it down to about there. And we'll do the same weave. So come up between the middle 2, and we'll go around the top 2. Come up between the bottom 2, and we go around the top 3. Coming under the bottom wire, we go over the 3rd, so we're going around the bottom 3. Come up between the bottom 2, and we go around the top 3 wires. Come up between the middle 2. We'll go around the top 2 wires. Then we'll just wrap once around that top wire, and we'll do another repeat. I'm just going to push it along a little bit so I can fit it in there. So I finished it with 3 wraps around the top wire. Keep pushing it together to keep it all nice. We're going to cut this wire from the beginning. Oops, stuck. And press that down. And then bring in those 2 weaves together at the top there. We'll go around the whole thing. So make sure your weaves are pushed up right to the top. Go around about 5 times or so. And then pick a back wire and go 3 times around that. So we just need to make sure the stone still fits in there. And when you're doing earrings, it is best to do... I got all fluff. I don't know where this fluff's coming from. Probably from Gracie. Yeah, when you're doing earrings, it's best to do them both at the same time. So we should grab the other wires, jump back to the beginning. I'm not going to force that in there. I'm going to adjust the top, because I did that the other day and I damaged the tip of my stone. So I might just unwind the top so I can fit it in properly. But yeah, grab your other 4 wires, do the same to that one, match it up to it as you go so they're both the same size. and I'll meet you back here. So if you measure your weaving wire, if you measure about roughly 24 inches and then cut your bobbin off, and then you can use that to make the other one. So I've done two the same, and now let's set the stones. So turn to the back, and we want a gap between this back wire and the rest of the wires. Take your pliers, and I'm going to bend a wire in, and I don't want to see it from the front. So don't grip it down here because you'll see it. You want to grip it where the stone comes to the wire. So we want to grip it about there. And make sure you've got hold of that wire first. We're going to bring it over the stone and we're going to twist the wire. I'm holding the rest of the wire in place as I bring that round there. I shouldn't really have a gap with those other wires. And then we'll do this side. So grip that back wire. Try and get it in roughly the same place. And then I'm holding the top in place. We're going to bring that wire over the stone and twist it. Push it against the stone. Make sure you haven't got a gap on the sides there. And then we'll do the same thing on the front. So turn it over. We want a gap between the front wire and the rest of the wires. Grip that wire right next to the stone there. I'm holding the top, and we're going to bend that wire and pull it over the stone a little bit. Push it against the stone, and you don't want a gap on the side. I don't know why I've got a gap on the side. I think it's because my stone is so big at the bottom. I absolutely love the shape of these stones. Right, and then this side, try and grab it in the same kind of place. Twist that wire. Oh, didn't want to slip. I've made a lovely big dink on my wire. So I'm just going to buff that off. I normally use, and I know I use it every time, so I'm explaining it in all my videos these days, a nail buffer. It's a bit harder on this side and it's a bit softer on this side. So we'll use that to get the marks out. And then I'll move to the softer side. You can see it's going there. And I've got another one that I use to do the fine buffer. You can use fine sandpaper. Can you see the marks gone? So that's one stone fitted. So I'm going to fit the other one the same way. As we work in earrings, it's best to keep doing the one straight after the other so you can match it up. So I've done the other one the same. So next we're going to weave our bail, and we're going to take the front two wires to do that weave. So the rest can be just pulled over to the sides for now. And we're going to weave just across those two. So bring your wire up the middle, and we'll just wrap around the two wires. So we did a weave the other day, and I really liked the look of the back of the weave. So I'm going to do that same weave. I'm going to turn it over so that the back is the front. Do you know what I mean? I'll show you. So the weave is, it's quite a simple one. We go around the wires twice. You come up between them. You go around the top wire and then around the bottom wire. And that's it. So you go around twice, come up between, go around the top wire, then around the bottom wire. And we'll keep repeating that. We'll do about 3 centimeters of weave. So I've done that weave on both of them, that backwards weave, and I love how it looks. Keep pushing it together as you go to keep it all nice and tidy. It's got a lovely zigzag look to it. Anyway, yeah, so I've done that weave on both, so that's what we have so far. I think I forgot to mention that these stones are castans. Is it going to focus on that? Castan stones? Just in case you wanted to know. So next we'll attach the bail, so make sure your weave is all pushed together. We're going to pull it forward a little bit and then we're going to bend it over to the back. If you've got bail pliers, then you can use those. If not, doing it with your fingers, just make sure that you keep it nice and straight. I'm bending the wires out at the back so that when it comes to, it's nice and flat. Mine's a little bit wonky. And then where it meets, take that weaving wire, pull it together nicely, and we'll go around the whole thing, positioning your wraps below the previous wraps so they're nice and tidy out the way. And then we'll finish that with wraps around one of these back wires. Go around a few times. Gracie's snoring her head off. And check over it and make sure it's all nice and straight. We can cut this wire off and flatten down the little cut ends and do the same to the other one. So I've got both my bails attached now. So next we're going to start with this wire, which is the front one on the right. And we're going to bring it down and across the front there. Like that. And then the front one on the left side, we're going to push that down at the base and we're going to scoop it the other way, and then that one is going to come over the front like that. Hold on. So this one carries on around and comes up, and this one carries on around and comes down. So we've got this swirly whirly going on in the middle. So I'm just going to pull this one down a little bit. I'm going to pull this one up a bit. So it's a bit of a whirlwind in the middle. We take the next one on the right, which is this middle one here. And that one is going to come down. I'm going to have a bigger scoop in that one. And that joins that wire there. And then the next one on this side, that one pushes down. Push it right down at the base and scoop it up. And that scoops up and comes over to join this wire at the top. So now we've got 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. It's really like to put a bead in the middle there. So I've got a 5mm bead, just a copper bead, and I'm going to attach it to one of these, the middle of these wires here. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to wrap a few times around it. I'm going to push it right to the middle there, and then I'm going to pop the bead onto it. Then I'm going to go this way around it. That's it. I'll go around that a few times. Then I'm going to go back through the bead, attach to the other side, and I might do that a few times so it's properly fitted in. I went back through and I attached at the other side too. I think that's plenty. Cut that off at both ends, press down those little cut ends, and we need to catch up with the other one, I think, before we go any further, because we need to do, you don't have to do it in reverse if you don't want to. You can make 2 the same if you prefer doing them this way. But let's catch up with the other one. Looking at the other one, we're going to take the left front wire, we're going to bring it down and around. Then we take the front right wire and we push it down at the base. Then we're going to scoop it up. And that comes over. So as this one comes around and goes up, this one comes around and goes down. And then get the pliers in there and we just pull it around a bit tighter. She's really snoring really loud. and that's a nice cup for the bead to sit in. That wire goes up to the top, that wire comes down to the bottom. Then we take the next wire on the right and we push it down at the base, and then we scoop it up, and that comes up to meet the top wire. Then we take the next one on the left and that scoops around, hold on a minute, and it comes in to meet the bottom one there. Got 2 wires at the bottom, 2 wires at the top. Then we add our bead to the middle, joining in a few times the different ones. So it's this wire and this wire. So I added that bead to that one. And that's the other one. So they are opposites, but you can't really tell that much. If you wanted to do 2 the same as the first one, I don't think anybody's going to notice once they're on. Last 2 wires, we'll take it around to follow. I think I'm going to add some coils onto these last 2 wires just to break it up a bit. I'm going to use some 24 gauge half round, but feel free to use weaving wire if you prefer. So with the flat side facing, I'm just going to wrap coils around the 2 remaining wires. Like I say, you can use weaving wire if you want to. This is just to add something a bit different, instead of just having bare wires everywhere. So I'm wrapping around at the end. It just makes it a little bit easier, and keep pushing it together as you do, keep it tidy. So we've wrapped a little bit, 2 centimeters roughly, a little bit more. I'm going to cut that off from the beginning. Slide that down. Right the way down to the base. And then I'm going to bring this wire around and then when it reaches there, I'm going to wrap around. This is going to be easier said than done in this position. I'm going to go around all the wires just to pull them all together. Keeping the flat side facing. And then once I've gone a couple of times, I'll come back up between the wires, making sure the flat side is facing. Continue to add coils on a little bit further. So after you've done the 2 joins and you're wrapping these coils around, it's a bit of a nightmare because the wire keeps twisting. So if you push that wire back and pull these wires forward a bit, it does make it a bit easier to get to, but that is a nightmare. So I'm going to do the same nightmare with the other side. I'm going to take this last wire, push it down. These are going to be large earrings. We're going to scoop it up. I felt the whole thing move then, like I've bent it out of line with the bail. So this wire is going to come up. I'm going to add coils to that one. It is quite large, isn't it? And these two wires are together here. I'm going to try and pull that wire down a little bit so it's a bit closer. And then with these, we can bring them in just a little bit. So I'm going to add coils to this outer wire. So I added coils to that one. It's a little bit more than 2 centimeters on that one because I wanted the join to be over here, not over here. And I put all those wires together, and then I added more coils for the last part. So now we need to catch up with the other one. So take another 2 12-inch lengths of that half round wire. Hold on, before we do, let's just shape these wires. So this one is going to come down at the base and scoop up. And then that is going to follow, that's going to be our coiled wire to follow that one. And this one is going to just scoop around. Bringing all those wires together there. So we add coils to the outer wires. So I've done that and I've brought the wires together at the top. So the top join is just after the bail, and the bottom join is quite close to this side here. Just after the bail, quite close to this side here. And looking at the middle wires as well, I've pushed those in a little bit to try and make it a bit more even. So just take a minute just to look over them and make sure they're all looking how you want them to. Look at the wires around the bead as well and adjust anything that you want to so that they look similar. So looking at the top wires, take this one and I'm going to take that one around the bail, and that is the one I'm going to use to like anchor it in to hold it in place. I'll cut it just after that point there so I can bend it over the bail. This next wire scoops around so I can cut that off there. I can't hold it because I'm getting spiked by the wires. And that one is going to go around there. And then this one is going to scoop around a bit bigger, and I'm going to have it coming away a little bit, so I can cut a bit of length off that. Bend it from the end around. And I want it to stand a little bit proud. Like that. So it stands proud right to the end there, and then it goes around tightly after. And then I can cut that there. And tighten that one around. So you can see how we're still keeping all this lovely shaping, but we're finishing off and attaching to the bail. Please don't show images of the back or in progress when you're making jewellery made from my tutorials, as it gives all my little design secrets away. I just saw a video on Facebook of someone showing the back, and it absolutely broke my heart. So let's do the top on this one, and then we can do the bottom wires together too. So let's finish the top on this one first. So the bottom wire, that's the anchor point that just pulls around, holds everything in place. So we pull that around. Give it a wriggle. So it's nice and tight, and then that goes over the top. Squeeze that around. Put it at the back. Wrap it around the end. This one comes around and it lies quite flat along the top. When you know you've got enough wraps, you can cut that off. And then that needs to go around. Cut a bit of that off. I cut that off so it just comes over just a tiny bit. Then this next wire comes around. Let's just compare it to this one. So it's quite close and it's very round. And it comes out a little bit. And then trying to hold that in place. Got wire everywhere. I love this last part when we're just shaping all the wires. We've done all the hard work and now we're just finishing off with all the pretty shapes. So that goes around. Try not to lose the shape of that there. So I want that to finish at the back. So I can cut that and press it around. So this top one is going to be the anchor. This one's going to hold it down. So get it where you want it to be. Hold it down, and it's going to go all the way across to the back. I'm going to wrap around those two wires at the back there. I'll cut the wire a little bit shorter just to make it easier for wrapping around. I'm not going to say use shorter wires because it is nice having that little bit of extra length just for the handling. So we put it around loosely. Have a look at the position. I can pull that around a bit tighter. Then when you're happy, you can press that last little bit around and tighten it around those wires. So at the front here, I'm going to cut that so I can mark it to measure for my other one. I'm cutting it when the wraps come to the side there, so they've reached that front wire, just so I can make a mental note to do that with the other one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop that around. I'm going to cut that wire quite short, and I'm going to curl it around into an open curl like that. This last wire is going to scoop around, come back in, I'm going to attach it here, and then I'm going to cut it and curl it into that gap, but I'm going to attach it first. So a little bit of weaving wire. I'm just going to cut these wires short because they're driving me crazy. I can't hold it properly because they're in the way. Oh, that's better. Right, where's my wire gone? A little bit of weaving wire around this wire. We go 3 times. Gracie's snoring as loud as she can. She can hear me talking, she wants to join in. So that is going to go around to there. Then I'm going to go around the 2 wires. Three times, and then I'm going to go around that wire 3 times, push it all together, cut off the wire. I've just realised I haven't fastened this down, so that's the next. I need to fasten that down. So I've just joined it onto the side there. I wrapped 3 times around this front wire, a couple of times around the 2, and then 3 times around the single wire, just to hold it down. Cut that off at both ends and press down those little cut ends. So I'm going to cut this wire. It's going to curl into that space, and it needs to be the right length. I'm not going to curl it because I'm going to make the other one and I want to do it the same length. So we'll do that next. So looking at this one straight away, I can see there's too many of these coils on here. It just needs to come to where it meets the wire. I'll take the top one around the back. So holding the front in place, take that over the side and across the back. And that can go around those two wires. So I'll attach that the same and I'll undo those coils to there. My first mistake, I've brought this around. I haven't actually finished off joining it yet, but it's too high, look. This one is quite low, it's below the weaves. And this one is across the weave, so I need to undo that and make it lower. So I've adjusted that to be the right height. I've started undoing these and realised I need to compress the coils together. So I didn't need to undo as many as I thought. Keep still. Cut that off and press it around. Again, I'm going to cut those wires off because they're getting in the way. So we should have left that wire straight so I could see how long it was before I cut it. I'm going to guess it's about that long. And I'm going to curl it around. And it needs to stay open. That's about right. And then this one comes around and I'm going to join it to the side there because that's a bit easier to get to, but I'm still going to do the 3 wraps around the front wire and then slide it along to here. This one, those side wraps are in line with the end of those wraps there, so I can match it up here. It needs to be right there. So I've done that join there, just need to push it all together, cut off the cut ends, I've cut off the extra lengths. So then this wire comes around and meets the wire there, and we need to do another little join there just towards the end of that cut curl, and I think we're nearly finished. So I've done that join. Now I need to cut the wire the same length as that one, so that one comes up to there. I think they're a bit long. So what I'm going to do with this is grab the tip, curl it around quite tightly and bring it over that one. So you've got no sharp bits sticking out, so you need to make sure it's all pretty flat. And I'll do the same with this one. That didn't go around as smoothly and I ended up pulling it away to curl this one around a bit more, and then I cut the last little bit off so it would fit. Then you have to really press it in so it's in place. That one went in perfectly. As always, I forgot to mention ear wires and jump rings. Sort that out next. So I forgot to mention that I'd cut and curled those 2 wires at the back there just to finish it off. And there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like help oxidising yours, I've done videos on oxidising and aftercare, dropping them. I'll put links in the description below. I hope you managed to follow this tutorial okay. It didn't cause too much confusion. I'm really pleased how they came out. So thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.